This week's message is channeled from Yeshua, and he's letting us know that the energy of the Divine Mother is our passage through this ascension. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. It is wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. And for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel, and I channel usually from the angelic realm, although today it is Yeshua who's speaking with us. And the way I do that, the way I connect is I'm a trance channel, which means I go into a deep meditative state. And from that state, I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. I go a little higher, I connect, and then energies and healing come through. And I share that here with you guys on YouTube. So this week's message came through in my most recent retreat. And it's a beautiful message, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And it's all about understanding that the time that we have been in, really in the last, 5,000 years, has been a period of self-interest where people have been motivated by what's best for them. And this has become an accepted part of our culture. And there's even the understanding that there's a theory that if everybody looks out for themselves, there will be a balance among humanity, right? That somehow we will achieve balance by everybody going after what they want. And the problem is that not all votes are equal, right? Not everybody's vote has the same amount of power. And so you end up with a really unequal society. So the energy that is being brought in is the energy of self-sacrifice by the Divine Mother. And it's a beautiful understanding of what that is and what that means, and how powerful it is. So anyways, I hope you enjoy the message. I wanted to also let you guys know that if you do not yet have a self-healing practice, a regular self-healing practice, or if you have one and you would like to add to that or have support in that, come and join me this Sunday is our monthly peace bathing session. These sessions are very transformative, powerful sessions. The people who are part of peace bathing use the recording for the remainder of the month. We have the group together. We come together live, and we do the session over Zoom. The energies come through. They're usually very applicable to what we're moving through right now. And then you use that recording for the rest of the month until our next session. Then in addition, in order to help support you, you also receive transcripts of every Friday live message sent to you every week. So if you want to be part of that, it's on my website, which is anntucker.com, and I would love to have you there. So thank you guys so much for joining me here, and please enjoy the message. All right. You ready? Let's do it. All right. Blessings, kindness, loved ones. I am with you once again. I bridge to speak. This spear of humanity is pointed south, downward, into their own self-reflection. These days of torment of which you have been a participant and which you have knowledge of must be not long in formation. They must go. The times to come will bring home to yourselves a greater understanding of each other. The oneness that you celebrate within, the celebration of yourselves and the consciousness of humanity, must once again dwell in the consecration of the Divine Mother. There is this energy that remains within the crust of the earth. She does tolerate the intolerance that surrounds her. She dwells within the caged memory of all inhabitants here. She stays within the bounds, within the confines that have been provided, and she slaves beneath the oppression of humanity. And she has endured. She has endured much. And in these times to come, this latent memory, the expression of the Divine Mother, must rise again. It must come and contain for humanity the heat and the heart that will celebrate yourselves in a higher mind and understanding of one another. And this cannot remain in the construct that you've been having. It cannot remain as it was. It must change. It must rise in your understanding. There must be a shift from within. The sentencing of humanity was performed by yourselves, by an understanding of the changes that are happening within the crust of the earth and how she has been forming and reforming. How the earth is coming to terms with her own longevity, feeling herself bridle and exchange the torment within herself. She must clear her field of which you are a part. As these times are forming, as the earth exhausts and exudes from her body the canker sores of anger and fear, humanity must surge and reform itself again. In these times coming, the dormant which has lain unremembered, the feminine heart, the feminine love, the feminine understanding must rise to perform the much needed rites of passage through which humanity will reform itself again. It is she who will provide the passage there, the passage through. She has been dormant. She has lain down beneath the oppression and the oppressive of this realm. She withdrew. That which is incarcerated within the plane of this earth has separated from the greater understanding of the divine nature that she is. It is as yourself, as you are, at once consecrated, a soul upon the earth, and at the same time a greater part of something much bigger. Your soul's life takes on an expansive nature of which you are but one piece. It is the same way of the divine nature within humanity, the soul form of your species. This aspect of her has been diminished. The greater part of her strength and beneficence will rise again through appearance in gradations. It will make its move into the present mind of humanity with oneness in its search and vision. The drawing forward of humanity to a time and place without the suffering of the time that has been known. It is a future where all are inclusive, where all are performing a dance of the divine in balance and harmony internally and with one another. In the time of this vision to which we are working, which we are bound and determined to bring forward within earth for the benefit of humanity, this time is forming. There are many steps of progress that can be measured. There are methods by which, through your own motivation and purpose, you are aiding in this progression. It will be a process of unfurling, moment by moment, mind by mind. The influence shifts by degrees the greater consciousness of the being that is humanity, the shared and collective understanding of what it is to be free on this earth. There is such a disturbance as is coming, as all things are shifting. The great powers which would prevent such an uprising, which would distill what is pure and keep it underfoot, these must break down to make room, and this is what is occurring. And you will see this daily through the nature of the news that is passing. You see how within humanity there is friction and reframe. And you see how there is the gradual destruction of what has been held onto by so many. And this will increase. The times that are coming of such disturbance as will work through the greater body of humankind and create within this milieu a need for purging and re-evaluation of all things. Into this mixture we pour the balm and soothing of the maternal nature. It is here and it is ready, and it will be needed. An aid, a guide to see through the chaos, an understanding of a method by which humanity may rise in its perception to a frequency much higher than previously embodied. It is through balance and tolerance of all frequencies. It is the understanding within the heart, the love within the experience of being on earth with one another. These comprehensions will filter through the greater preponderance of peoples. It cannot be done from the external. The angelic realm has not the influence that is required. It cannot be one being a leader as I was. It cannot be one voice who has spoken. It cannot be an idea. It must be felt through emotion. It must be a feeling. A preponderance of emotion must rise within into the consciousness of humanity. It must be greater than one. It must be the many. It must be all beings who resonate a frequency of unity and oneness, which then becomes pervasive around this plane of existence to unify the earth into a sensation of itself as alive and awake and present in the universe. This is what is being accomplished, but by degrees and steps, and you yourselves are of this in participation. This is what is being expressed. This is what is needed. This is why you are pulled forward. This is why you have inhabited this time and place, this region of understanding, to allow these frequencies to move freely through you now, embodied as you are. The consciousness rises to the heights of ascendance, and these must permeate the waking and disturb the complacent among you. There is great friction, be understanding. There is great friction among humanity, and there will be times of torment. And we say within you, peace resides. The sense of harmony and freedom must preside, a sense of balance internal within, which you tolerate with understanding the frequencies of strife and anger. You see the earth and its struggle within itself as it purges these energies from within, and see as they are expressed through its inhabitants. Be wise in your observance. Hold them in light and understanding. Be with them through this purge. Present to them a feeling and a sense of yourself as held in the light, in peace, in harmony internal, in balance. What does this mean for the self? A place of harmony is to stand within the self, to know you are resolute in your comprehension of your own divine nature, to sense you are not passive or complacent in your observance, to be understanding, replete with the goodness of the Divine Mother, who wishes to aid and yet who does not lay down to be trod upon, who stands and claims their own sovereignty, who can balance between these two natures, who has an understanding of the freedom that is implied through harmony, who can balance within themselves what it is to be human, fully conscious, aware, and embedded within the collective. We ask you now each to be in practice and utilization by the arms and legs of your brethren, to be healing as you walk this earth, to carry the loving frequency of the Divine Mother, and to have within you an understanding of the guidance and strength of your Divine Father, to be both in equal measure, and to be this at length in comprehension, emboldened through action, through choices made, and to share this wisdom in all ways of expression. Each of you have as an understanding that the mere embodiment and presence of yourselves at this time of experience influences the many, for the consciousness of humanity changes as one does. With each of you, your growth of expression is like a tide of awakening, a presence that overcomes, that infiltrates, that moves between and within the thoughts and resignations of human thinking. You will infect humanity with your revolutionary thoughts of balance and harmony. Be this self that you may guide the many through your sleeping moments and your daydreams. Through all that you are and have been, let the knowledge pour through you. The balm for humanity is to know there is a passage to the light. There must be hope and hopefulness. Within this plane, there must be visible a method by which harmony can be attained. There must be an understanding of letting go and allowing, of moving through flow, while also standing in the strength of knowing yourselves. And this is balance. We claim for yourselves in time coming that harmony will play amongst you. There will not be the same course of movement and digestion that occurs in the body as you move through your own karma. It will not be this, not like that, not what you have known. It will instead be a time within which you move through life with a mission and the vibration of aiding one another and the earth, where you are the guardians of her, and she is but the life of the many. And all as one, you unite as brethren to express her light into the universe. And this will become the next game you are playing, and the manifestations of a life that you create in this new realm of earth will be your delight. Whew, right? Like that one there's a lot of energy in there. A lot of energy in there. Okay. And you're saying lots of comments. And you're saying, and George is saying, I don't ever catch you, but I'm wide awake here in Western Australia at 1 a.m. I am so glad you're here, Georgie. Hi, everyone. So excited for today's live. Welcome, Danielle. Mike is saying, oh, sorry, I lost you. It just moved. My thing moved. 5,000 years since the age of Taurus all the way to now. Thank you, Mike, for that. So it's been 5,000 years of this particular self-interest that we've been working through. Hey, Mary, great to see you. Mike is saying to sacrifice yourself into the sun for purging. It is about, and it's not about, like they said, not about laying down, not becoming a doormat. It's about maintaining our sense of ourselves, and our sovereignty and our knowledge of our own divine nature. So if you are the divine, you would never throw yourself down, right, and lose yourself. You would instead find the balance, right? It's all about where there is enough for everyone. It's about inclusion, right? About bringing in and making space. Yeah. And you're saying, let's see here, let me go back. I keep losing my spot here. You're saying, where is it? Brandy's saying, phew, beautiful. Yes, me, I think so too. So much in this. Love the earth. I knew there was a reason I have 3 environmental science kids. Oh, I love that. Yeah, so this definitely, the message has a ton in it, and I'm going to go through, normally I go paragraph by paragraph, but it is such a long one. I will do my best to be a little bit abbreviated and give you the main things that I think really stand out for us to understand and wrap our heads around. I think the biggest thing that I think we should address is that they've mentioned several times in this message that the ultimate goal we're trying to get to is a place where the earth awakens. And if we are the neurons of the earth, we have to unite. Like, it's almost like we are fractured thoughts. Like, all of us are in our own little silos of thinking all over the earth. And before the earth can become self-aware, we have to harmonize, right? We can't be all over the place. It's like, imagine like, it's like the way they think about like your dog, and it's like squirrel, you know, like the thoughts are like here and here and here. And we have to be self-aware, we have to be reflective. We have to then coordinate and unify our thoughts, which means we have to unify humanity. And by doing that, the earth becomes self-aware, right? And then when the earth is self-aware, then we can start to participate in the greater universe. And that is what like they've mentioned that twice here in the message, that is like, yes, we're doing this for humanity, but also for the earth, that the earth is trying to become self-aware. In order for the earth to be self-aware, humanity has to unify, her thoughts have to unify. So this is like way bigger than us, but that it is one person at a time. They also said that we, by individually changing, we hold this, and not only do we influence the collective, but that we also have to show people this hope. We have to hold the light and show a passage through. So, and they're telling us that it's not just by, like, yes, by just being, but through action. What do we do? What choices do we make? How are we moving? And they refer to this, be the arms and legs of humanity. How do we carry this energy, this idea of holding this love inside of us, and this sense of internal harmony and balance, where we're balanced in our masculine and energy and feminine energy, right? And then through that, making choices and taking actions that move out into the world and show this divine grace, right? So there's multiple levels in which we are hugely acting upon this desire to shift the human collective. Yeah. Okay. All right. And you're saying the Earth Rift is going to be such a relief for Earth. I hope we can aid through our vibrations. It is like the massive shifts that are coming really, really hard. There's no question. But we need that much help, right? We need that much help to shift. Like it's the power structures that exist are so entrenched and so deep that we don't even know, we don't even see them. We're like the fish in the water. What water? You know, what water are we swimming? We can't even see the structures that hold us in place. So we have to dissolve them. We have to have a significant change on the earth in order to open, and they say open the complacent. Because it's not enough for it to be just some. It has to be everyone in order for Earth to awaken. So there has to be a major change where people are all of a sudden shaken out of their complacency, and then they have to see the hope, and they have to feel that divine mother essence, right, to balance humanity and help us move into this new expression where we are unified, right? And that unification comes from this divine mother. Like the divine mother is our passage through. So wow, right? Super wow. And you're saying, so we can be reborn with Mother Earth. Exactly. Be the light. Yes. What exactly is meant by an Earth Rift? So they called it an Earth Rift. And this was a channeling that came through a couple of years ago. And they've referenced it since then several times. It was maybe 2 or 3, maybe even 3 years ago that they started talking about this. And it is a massive earth, like an opening in the earth. And my understanding is it does a bunch of different things. Like, yes, there is... that in itself does create giant tsunami. But the other thing that it creates is a lot of flooding. And that's why they keep talking about have a way to purify your water. That I think a lot of our water systems get flooded. And so when that happens, it messes with the potability of your water. Your water can become, even the water like that's in your water treatment facilities can get mixed up with contaminated water, and what comes out of the tap is no longer clean to drink. So, and we hope there's a tap, right? Fingers crossed that water still flows. So we want a way to clean your water so that even if there isn't water, you can collect water and clean it. So flooding is a big issue. Too much water, which then messes with the water that we drink. But the Earth Rift is all about this. It's a major, major shift. So a major Earth disaster is what they've talked about. So, and I don't, of course, like sharing that message that was one of the first ones where they started talking about some of these difficult things. And I sat on it for months and months and months because I did not want to say it out loud, and I didn't want it to be true, and I also didn't want to freak people out. And I didn't want to be that oh, the earth is, the end is nigh, the guy on the street corner. I didn't want to be the crazy person. So yeah, all kinds of reasons why I didn't want to share it. But it's out there, and I think it's important. And they said at the time that it's important that we know because of these things, because of the need to have a way to clean our water and have a backstock of food. Because the other thing they said is the shipping industry, the specific words they said, shipping industry is catastrophic, which means no more shipping. And think of that. If we have an earth rift, if there's a giant tsunami, then it will destroy ports. It will destroy ships. So no more shipping. So stuff that you get from elsewhere, right? Whatever you get from elsewhere that you feel like you need to have. and they've also said, don't like feel like you need everything to be the way that it was. That be okay with things being different, with not having necessarily the same level of niceties, that you will have enough. And that if there's something you need in terms of, say you have, like you love vegetables, like I do, grow some or find a local source, find things you can do locally that provide and meet your needs. Right. So that's the kind of stuff. But they said they don't want us to get into prepper mindset and start hoarding or things like that. They want us to continue to invest in our lives as if the world is continuing on the way it is, because we don't know the things that are going to break or going to be different. And more importantly, that it's an energy, that the things we are investing in now are an energy that will carry through. So if you are investing in, and we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, if you're investing in your child's college fund, that investment, which is just energy, money is energy, will continue through. Even if it looks differently, that the investment in your children's future will continue through. So continue to invest in your lives. Continue to move as though the world will be the same, even though we know it's not, because we can't predict what's changing. And as long as we're continuing in that positive vibration of investing in our lives, it means that we are investing in our future. So yeah. So anyway, so there's a lot there. One question, there's a lot to say on that one. Thank you, Teresa. She says, I'm grateful you shared it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate that you guys have been so supportive through all of these messages. Like, I know it's not always easy, and I know it can be really triggering sometimes. And I know you guys have been super courageous through this whole process, and I really am grateful. And I also know that sometimes you are the only one who is holding this information, that you're not in an environment or you're not in a life or a town or family that is receptive to this stuff. And I know that makes it extra hard. So extra special thank you to you. And Mike says, for me, it is us people who are at odds with each other and non-acceptance of self, that in so doing, we are lost at sea in stormy weather. Very true. And I think that is a lot about what this is about, is how do we open to be inclusive to everyone? And there's a concept of unity, like realizing that humanity is one being, like that we are all one. It's not just a consciousness. We are one in a very real sense. And so when we deprive another person of something that we have, that they need, right? And it doesn't mean to lay down in the dirt yourself. Like, they're saying that very clearly. It doesn't mean that you should have nothing, that you should sacrifice yourself to the point of nothing. That's not what we're asking for. It has to be a balance where you are safe and well, and where other people are hopefully safe and well. Yeah. So, okay, so they go through this message. Just go ahead and break down. And like I said, I'm going to kind of move through it fairly in pieces, because I know that this is a long message. So the beginning, they talk about how the Divine Mother energy has been repressed. And they say she dwells within the caged memory of all inhabitants here. Before that, they say, the consciousness of humanity must once again dwell in the consecration of the Divine Mother. There is this energy that remains within the crust of the earth. So she's still here, they're saying, but she does tolerate the intolerance that surrounds her. So this is really this concept of intolerance, and humanity has been intolerant of her, right? She dwells within the caged memory of all inhabitants here. She stays within the bounds and the confines that have been provided, and she slaves, but beneath the oppression of humanity. So it literally is. It's like this, to me, what this says is that releasing her is freedom. She slaves beneath the oppression of humanity. So this, to me, this says the entire concept of selfishness enslaves humanity. That when we have the concept of self-interest above the concept of unity, humanity is enslaved, right? And so that is, to me, that is the powerful, that's why they say she is the passage through. That when we get to this space of sharing, it's not about giving away what we have, it's about creating freedom for ourselves and everyone. And that freedom comes in, it feels very different. The things we used to think, and they've said this so many times, the things we used to think are important no longer are, right? The things we used to think that we would measure our success in life or our safety in life, by your bank balance or your 401k, they're like, okay, that's not where it's at. It's about, is everybody provided for? Does everybody have what they need? This is freedom, right? And I think we get to a place where when we're not working through our karma, when we're not suffering in the same way, we don't experience fear in the same way. It's a complete reframe that is so beyond our comprehension that we're just starting to get a glimmer of. Yeah, and I think so. This is the key thing, is to know that this concept of the Divine Mother is the passage that her oppression has been our enslavement. That right there is such a mouthful. Yeah. Okay, and then keeping on, they go on to say, she stays within the confines that have been provided, and she slaves beneath the oppression of humanity, and she has endured, right? And I love this. Again, the double entendre, they say it twice. They say she has endured. In other words, she's still there. And then they say she has endured much. So they say both. Not only is she enduring, but she has also endured much. So I love that. I love the way they think in multiple frames at once. Yeah. They go on to say, and these times to come, this latent memory, the expression of the Divine Mother must rise again. It must come and contain for humanity the heat and the heart that will celebrate yourselves in a higher mind and understanding of one another. And this cannot remain in the constructs you've been having. So in other words, that the way we've been, it will not work. And so this shift has to be a fundamental shift. It cannot remain as it was. It must change, right? And there has to be a shift from within. And that's another huge theme of the message, is that this comes from inside. It's an emotion that we're trying to bring up and to infiltrate the human consciousness with this emotion, right? The sentencing of humanity was performed by yourselves by an understanding of the changes that are happening within the crust of the earth. So what they're saying here is that we, as at the higher consciousness level, became aware of the shift in the crust of the earth, that the earth herself was going through a shift in consciousness. So the sentencing of ourselves to be here and to come at this time was our choice. The sentencing of humanity was performed by yourselves. So in other words, we have chosen to move through this, right? To be part of this. How the earth is coming to terms with her own longevity, feeling herself bridle and exchange the torment within herself. So this is part of her own awakening, as she is starting in the same way that we encounter ourselves in our life, in the same way that we bump up against the things that we need to clear. That is happening for her, as she is starting to encounter her wounds. And that is that bridling, the exchange, the torment within her is starting to shift inside of her. She must clear her field of which you are a part. So this is all of it, right? And then they say, Yeshua says, as these times are forming, as the earth exhausts and exudes from her body the canker sores of anger and fear, humanity must surge and reform itself again. So the surge, I like that he uses this term surge, that it is a sense of a heaving, that it's not a gentle process, right? Surge and form itself again. So it's not broken, right? It's a surge. And a surge can be very destructive. A surge is certainly, like, think about a surge in a tsunami. A surge breaks at a lot of things, but then that surge also goes down again, and then things can be picked up and figured out. And that's why it's not broken. It is a chance to to redefine who we are. Right? In these times coming, the dormant which has lain unremembered, the feminine heart, the feminine love, the feminine understanding must rise to perform the much needed rites of passage through which humanity will reform itself again. So this is where they say, this is why I'm calling this message of the Divine Mother is the passage through. That it's through understanding the values that we've held globally, really, of self-interest, and trying to break that and trying to move into an understanding of the importance of caring for one another. Right? And he goes on to say, it is she who will provide the passage there, the passage through. She has been dormant. And then this goes on, he goes on to explain that the Divine Mother, that the aspect of the Divine Mother that has been here on earth is part of a much larger Divine Mother energy. That in the same way that we have a higher self, and then our soul is here, is like, I think of us as like the big toe of our higher self. Like we are having an experience, and that experience then goes on to inform our higher self. Well, the Divine Mother that is here is the same way. That there is an expression of the Divine Mother that is here on earth, but there is also Divine Mother energy that's universal. So the energy of the Divine Mother that has been here has been repressed, but the Divine Mother in the universe is just as strong. So what we're trying to do is reconnect the Divine Mother here on earth back to her higher self, right? This is a reconnection that we're trying to create. And how do we do it, right? Is by embodying that ourselves. And so he says, right, this aspect of her has been diminished. The greater part of her strength and beneficence will rise again through appearance in gradation. So in other words, little bit by little bit, as each of us is able to hold this energy, she makes her connection again, and she makes her appearance again. The strength and beneficence will rise again. It will make its move into the present mind of humanity with oneness in its search and vision. So this is the mission, oneness. The drawing forward of humanity to time and place without suffering of the kind of the time that's been known, right? So this is what we're trying to get away from, is karma. This is the old way of being, the previous level of consciousness, right? And Yeshua goes on to say, it is a future where all are inclusive, where all are performing a dance of the divine in balance and harmony internally with one another. In the time of this vision to which we are working, which we are bound and determined to bring forward within earth for the benefit of humanity, this time is forming. So this is saying that all eyes are on earth, right? Yeshua, the angels, all of the other energies that are watching us, that are part of this, everybody is working towards this rise in consciousness, this shift, this ascension. And they're bound and determined, right? So in other words, and they've already said it's already happened. Like the angels see forward and have told us that this has already occurred. We're already there. So we just have to do it now, right? We can't fail, in other words. So we just got to do it. And you're saying, Mike is saying, let's make it to the knee as opposed to the big toe of here. If we want to be more, that is, it's such a good point, because we are trying to embody more of our higher self. So we're trying to be more than just a toe. We're trying to bring all of the higher self in, is what we'd like to do. And Mary is saying that is so awesome to realize that Earth Mother needs to reconnect with her best and highest, and we can help do with that. Exactly. And I think it's interesting to know that what is disconnection? It can be, disconnection isn't something we do through some of the negative qualities we're talking about selfishness and stuff like that. It can also be about losing yourself through overgiving, right? Through being laid down and trodden on, right? You can lose your connection. Anytime you don't respect the divinity within you, you can lose that connection. So about maintaining the harmony, maintaining the balance, this helps us with our connection too. Yeah. And Patty, hey Patty, saying being with Gaia during the retreat was magical. So exciting, Anne. Oh, thank you so much. That was an amazing message, wasn't it? Yeah, I love that. And we shared that. I think that was last week. We shared that. Or was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. If you missed that message, go back 2 weeks and you'll see the message from Mother Earth. And it's a really powerful one. Yeah, super cool. All right. So, So then Yeshua goes on to say, there are many steps of progress that can be measured. So in other words, we're not at the beginning on this, we're working on this, and that you have all been here your entire lives. If you are listening to this, my guess is that you chose to be here at this time, and that you are part of this, holding the light. You are part of this effort that we are all making together to try to bring this energy into the collective. So, and so we have progress. We can measure it. And they're saying there are methods by which, through your own motivation and purpose, you are aiding in this progression, right? It will be a process of unfurling, moment by moment, mind by mind. The influence shifts by degrees, the greater consciousness of the being that is humanity, the shared and collective understanding of what it is to be free on this earth. So here he references what it is to be free on earth, right? Is to have this balance. The balance is freedom, right? And so this idea of embracing everyone becomes our freedom. All right, and then he goes on to say, there is such a disturbance as is coming, as all things are shifting. The great powers which would prevent such an uprising, which would distill what is pure and keep it underfoot, must break to make room. And this is what is occurring. So he's just reiterating what we know, which is that there's purpose behind this huge, all of the earth events that are coming, all of the political chaos that we're already experiencing and which we're experiencing more of. Right? They talked about a third world war, which is then stopped by this earth rift. So the earth rift is the thing that actually saves us. So because if we made it through a world war, a third world war, and all that happened was that the people in power stayed in power, or that different people came into power, and that the basic structures and concepts stayed the same, it wouldn't help us. It has to be enough to shift us, to get us to a place where borders and countries don't make even sense anymore, where everything is for everyone, right? And that's what and in order to do that, a lot of people have to lose what they think is very important. So we have to go through this, right? So they're saying these must break down to make room. And you see this daily through the nature of the news that is passing. So right now, Yeshua is trying to give us the understanding of like where we're already on the path. This is already in process, right? There is a friction and reframe. You see how there is the gradual destruction of what has been held onto by so many, and this will increase. So think about the crazy polarity. Think about the poly crisis, where every day it seems like there's a new thing going on, right? And they're saying, the times are coming of such a disturbance as will work through the greater body of humankind and create within this milieu a need for purging and reevaluation of all things. So this is what we're moving towards, is a space where people, literally they can't pretend that things are the same, where we have to reevaluate, we have to reconsider. Into this mixture, we pour the balm and soothing of the maternal nature. So it basically creates the opening. The chaos creates the opening into which we can pour in, right, this consciousness, this awareness, this frequency of the Divine Mother. It is here and it is ready and it will be needed. So saying this is already here. The reconnection is been made, and it's here and it will be needed, right? So now we have to just let it move through humanity. An aid, a guide to see through the chaos, an understanding of a method by which humanity will rise in its perception to a frequency much higher than previously embodied. It is through balance and tolerance of all frequencies. It is the understanding within the heart, the love within the experience of being on earth with one another. So it really is about tolerating everyone, and that includes the people who are angry and the people who are violent. It is understanding what they are moving through, right? And looking at them with compassion, understanding you have been that, and recognizing that they are in pain. And that's why they're expressing those energies, right? That they're in pain. And it doesn't mean that we have to lay down and we have to allow difficulties into our field, but we can hold the light of understanding and tolerance, right? Tolerance meaning that it doesn't mean we have to tolerate bad behavior. Tolerance in the frame of reference that we say we understand why, and we hold them in the light, and we give them love, and we love them even though they're destructive. But it doesn't mean we have to put up with the destruction. We don't have to tolerate the laying down and being squished is tolerating bad behavior, right? We don't have to do that. We have to respect the divine inside of us, right? And tolerate and understand the divine within them. That's the difference. Yeah. All right, then, and they say these comprehensions will filter through the greater preponderance of peoples. He says it cannot be done from the external, right? This is big. It says it can't be done from outside. The angels, they're on the outside. They can't do it. It can't be a leader, so it can't be Yeshua. He can't come back and fix this because he's one person, or one energy, I should say, one consciousness. It cannot be one voice who has spoken. It cannot be an idea, so it can't be in the head. That's a big thing. This is not a thought, an idea, which is what Yeshua brought. He told that to us in a previous message, that he brought an idea. He was working here. I mean, yes, with the heart, but he brought an awareness, right? And now what this is an emotion. So awareness is one thing. Awareness is awesome and we need it. But what has to happen now, what is infectious, is emotion. And the emotion has to come from within. It has to move through the collective awareness, right? It has to be a feeling, that reaching out, that empathy, what we've been talking about, that with this collective empathy for one another is what we're trying to get to, right? A preponderance of emotion must rise within into the consciousness of humanity. All right, next paragraph. He says, it must be greater than one. It must be the many. And here's the big thing. It must be all beings. So it's not a thing where some of us can do it. It has to be everyone. And that's the hard thing. So that's why we say we can't look at someone who's not on board and be like, well, I'm just going to shove them out, right? Like they don't get to come. It has to be a thing where we reach out through this tolerance to make a space for them to come in, right? And so it must be all beings. And the reason for that is that we are the neurons of the earth. And what we're trying to do is create self-awareness in the earth. And so to do that, we have to create a shared frequency where she all of a sudden has that stillness that we crave. We can't see ourselves unless we are in stillness. We have to get away from the monkey mind, the busyness. And right now, humans are the monkey mind of the earth. And what we're trying to do is create the stillness that we get through meditation, where we can become self-reflective, and then our higher self can speak through. And this is what we're trying to do for the earth. We are trying to still the monkey minds of the humans so that we can have one frequency, one vibration of unity, which is her in meditation, which creates the stillness for the divine mother higher self to come through and generate self-awareness. And once the earth has that, then she can, and we can as a collective, participate in the greater universe. Yeah, so that feels really important. It really is important. And it's such a shift in how we think about things. But if we think of it, that we are the monkey mind, and we're trying to create unity, and in the same way that we do, like in our meditation, and when we try to still our thoughts, is what we're trying to do for the earth. It's not easy, and that's why it's going to take a major shift, and why the earth, like it has to create an environment where things can't stay the same. Yeah. And okay, so then we go on to say, this is what is being accomplished, but by degrees and steps, and you yourselves are of this in participation. All right. All right. And then, okay, well, I forget. I missed this one important sentence. I love this one. It must be all beings who resonate a frequency of unity and oneness, which then becomes pervasive around this plane of existence to unify the earth into a sensation of itself as alive and awake and present in the universe. So that's basically what I was just trying to explain, which he said so much better. So yeah, but that's exactly it. And Mary's saying it must be all people. That is going to be hard, but really fantastic. It really is. And I think understand like that this might take longer. This final destination of getting to a place of complete unity may take more than our lives, but that we will see a significant and massive shift in our lifetime. And that is helped by all these earth changes, that we're going to get to a place where everybody is leaning in. And that's what the difference is, right? That you can't survive and not be leaning in. And I think that's the big key. All right. So then we go on. He says, and by the way, that part about leaning in, think about some of the messages that we got in the past and think about some of the dreams that we've seen, which have shown that the passage through the difficulties are leaning into this love of one another, right? To love and caring. And that is literally holding that frequency is how we get through the changes that are coming. Yeah. And not letting yourself get pulled into fear or pulled into the other stuff. And I know that's hard. It's really hard. They said something, the angel said something really, really beautiful in a session just recently. And they talked about loss. And they said, they were talking about the key is to experience the loss, but not fear the experience of the loss. That you can have sadness, but don't fear the sadness. That the fear of it is what we need to be aware of. And the fear makes us avoid it and we don't express it and we trap that energy. And so if you feel loss, if you feel sadness, whatever the feeling is, even if you feel hard things like guilt or shame, feel it, but don't fear it, right? Don't fear the feeling. And that's what separates it. I love that. Was a fantastic perceptual shift. Yeah. And Andrea says, hello, I'm happy to be here with you live for the first time. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. All right. All right. So then they go on to say, okay, where are we? That this is what is being expressed. This is what is needed. This is why you are pulled forward. right? This is why you have inhabited this time and place, this region of understanding. So why did we come here? This is it, right? This is why we came, to allow these frequencies to move freely through you now, embodied as you are. So we have to be embodied in order to communicate these frequencies into the collective. And it takes beings that are already of a high frequency in order to do this. So the goal was to come in, to volunteer, to come in, to be here, to remember ourselves, to be able to clear ourselves of the stuff that we use to bind ourselves to the earth, and then to hold these frequencies and allow them to move through us and to infect the rest of humanity, right? That's the idea. So your consciousness rises to the heights of ascendance, and these must permeate the waking and disturb the complacent among you. So this is what we're here for, right? Yes, it is just to be. But they said it's also to go out and to move through every choice we make, through every action that we take, to let these feelings radiate from us. That we're always thinking about the highest good, right? That we're always trying to respect ourselves and respect humanity, right? And respect others. And it is that lovely dance of honoring the divine in all of us. There is, then he goes on to say there's great fiction that's going to be among humanity, that there will be times of torment, and we know that, right? And they say within you peace resides. He says the sense of harmony and freedom must preside, a sense of balance internal within which you tolerate with understanding the frequencies of strife and anger. So this is really a nod to the idea that as we're moving through this, there will be people who are very badly behaved, and we have to hold them in the light. And that we have to hold that tolerance. And it doesn't mean we have to tolerate the bad behavior, but it means we have to tolerate their journey and understand why they're doing it, and understand they're in fear and they're in pain. And hold the light, because that is the hope. And that's that if they have a chance of making it through, if they have a chance of growing through this, which is what we want for everybody, they have to see the light, and they have to see you holding it, right? That's the idea. Okay, you see the earth as in its struggle within itself as it purges these energies from within, and see as they are expressed through its inhabitants. Be wise in your observance. Hold them in the light and understanding. Be with them through this purge. Present to them a feeling and a sense of yourself as held in the light, in peace, in harmony, internal, in balance. So this is what we want to be. Yes, it's being, it's acting, it's doing. It's really about trying to communicate this with our entire embodiment. And then he goes on to say, what does this mean for the self? All right. A place of harmony is to stand within the self, to know that you are resolute in your comprehension of your own divine nature, right? So to respect the divinity inside of you, to sense you are not passive or complacent in your observance. So that doesn't mean that you ignore your own needs or you ignore bad behavior. What we define as it's not for the greatest good, right? To be understanding, replete with the goodness of the Divine Mother, who wishes to aid and yet who does not lay down to be trod upon, who stands and claims their sovereignty. So this is the Divine Mother claims her sovereignty, who can balance between these two natures, who has an understanding of the freedom that is implied through harmony, who can balance within themselves what it is to be human, fully conscious, aware, and embedded within the collective. So this is a balance we have to attain, right? To understand what it is to be human, to be fully conscious, to be aware and embedded, right? That is a balance, to be aware, but also be embedded, to be human, but also to be spirit. It's a balance that we have to work through. And then this is where he says, take action. He says, we ask you now each to be in practice and utilization by the arms and legs of your brethren. In other words, we need to be out in the world, that we can't be hiding in our hidey holes. To be healing as you walk this earth, right? So to get out there. If you're a healer, if you're a channel, get out there, right? Whatever you do in your practice of being in the earth, to get out there and for every choice, for everything you do, every decision, to try to hold this light and emanate this light of balance, harmony, and inclusion, right? To be healing as you walk this earth, to carry the loving frequency of the Divine Mother, and to have within you an understanding of the guidance and strength of your Divine Father, to be both in equal measure, and to be this at length in comprehension, emboldened through action, through choices made, and to share this wisdom in all ways of expression. And something I just want to add here, because I think is important, is that I think sometimes we think of the Divine Mother as the weaker element of being like loving and sweet and soft, and that's lovely. And yes, Divine Mother has that. And we think of the Divine Mother as being strong and being the one who is in charge. And that's actually not true. And I just want to clarify that when they say to hold the strength of your Divine Father, what they mean is action. That they mean act, walk, or what he means, what Yeshua means here is to hold that energy of action. That the Divine Mother is the feminine. The feminine is the guide. The feminine is the one that chooses, that has that connection to intuit, to connect to our divine knowledge and to make choices, and then to choose to say, okay, I see through my divine connection, through my intuition, I see the direction we should go. I intuit what we should be doing. I feel through the body what I should be doing. And this is the direction. And then the Divine Father steps forward and says, great, okay, I will take action. I will move mountains. I will do all the things to make that happen. And it's a constant balance that go back and forth between the two. And so, yes, the Divine Mother is loving. Yes, the Divine Mother is tolerance of all these things, right? Of the divine nature in everyone, because she has sight. Right? And she has the sight, that wisdom of knowing we are all one. She also has the intuition, the guidance, the collective. So she is the decider. She's the guide. She's the one who steers, right? And then she needs the Father, because the Father comes in, the divine masculine is the one that then takes that knowledge, that understanding, and says, great, I'll help us get there. And the two have to work together. And it's a constant dialogue between the two. So I just want to clarify that, because I think we have in society, we have a misunderstanding of what our divine energy is. Our Divine Mother energy is strong, very strong, right? Powerful. It's the sight and the connection to know where to go and what to do and what we are. And then that then informs how we act and how we behave and how we create, right? So it's a combination of the two. Yeah. And Mike is saying, being in free trading mode just by holding the light. Yes, exactly, Mike. Mary's saying it's always helpful for me to remember that we do not do this alone, but have a whole spiritual team of helpers to rely on. That is, oh my gosh, thank you for mentioning that, Mary. Exactly. We are so guided right now and so helped on every level. Like there's gazillions of angels and other beings present on the planet right now to help us with this. So, and yes, we are the ones that are embodied. So we are the crew leader. We're the team leader, but you have a team and you can call on extra team when you need it. Yeah. Patty says, this is so powerful. Thank you, Anne, for bringing truth, even when it's difficult to hear, conceptualize and understand. Time to dust off my big girl panties. Thank you so much, Patty. And Mike says, Sophia means wisdom. Oh, beautiful. All right. Okay, here we are. And then he goes on to say, each of you have as an understanding, and I like this part, that the mere embodiment and presence of yourselves at this time of experience influences the many, for the consciousness of humanity changes as one does. So in other words, you change, and your shift, the change that you make, as you heal, as you work through your stuff, you influence everyone, right? Your healing is the healing of humanity. So that's the other reason why they keep pushing us to heal, heal, heal. Speaking of which, if you do not yet have a regular healing practice, peace bathing is this Sunday, and you can join us and it will shift you. So please do. It's on my website, anntucker.com. So it's this Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. So the consciousness of humanity changes as one does with each of you. Your growth of expression is like a tide of awakening, a presence that overcomes, that infiltrates, that moves between and within the thoughts and resignations of human thinking, right? So think about that, a presence that overcomes, that infiltrates. It's like they can't resist it. This feeling that's coming out of you, they can't resist it, that moves between and within their thoughts, right? You will infect humanity with your revolutionary thoughts of balance and harmony. I love it. Be this self that you may guide the many through your sleeping moments and your daydreams. And that's interesting how they call our life a daydream. Yeah. Through all that you are and have been. So it's just a nod back to the fact that we are eternal, right? Through all that you are and have been, let the knowledge pour through you. The balm, I love this next paragraph here. The balm for humanity. So how we save humanity, or how do we make it better? The balm for humanity is to know there is a passage to the light. There must be hope and hopefulness. Within this plane, there must be visible a method by which harmony can be attained, right? There must be an understanding of letting go and allowing, of moving through flow while also standing in the strength of knowing yourselves. And this is balance. So this is huge, right? There has to be an awareness that people have done it. So you have to do it so that there's an awareness on this plane that it can be done. And that is really what we're doing. We're showing everybody I've done it, so can you, right? That it is an understanding of letting go, allowing, like being in the flow, which is that lovely divine mother energy, while also standing in the strength of knowing yourselves. So holding that you're a sovereignty, everything else. Yeah. We claim for yourselves in times coming that harmony will play amongst you. There will not be the same course of movement and digestion that occurs in the body as you move through your own karma. It will not be this, not like that, not what you have known. It will instead be a time within which you move through life with the mission and the vibration of aiding one another and the earth, where you are the guardians of her, and they've said that many times now, and she is but the life of the many. And all as one, you unite as brethren to express her light into the universe. And this will become the next game you are playing. So this is that idea that once we harmonize as one being and we hold that space for Earth to become self-reflective and aware, they say that is the next game we are playing, is then communicating with the rest of the universe, right? And the manifestations of a life that you create in this new realm of Earth will be your delight. So good things on the horizon. Going through tough stuff, but for very good reason. And you're saying I'm infecting humanity with my enthusiasm. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. That's very sweet. Oh, so you guys, all right. I know this was a long message. Although, you know what? We came in about an hour. That's not too bad. So I tried to match as much as I could to get it all in there. But just, I think such an important message. And I do feel like that these messages have come to us like one after another, like they've been laying down. My mom used to be a teacher, and she used to describe it as putting Velcro in people's minds so that you had to build knowledge so that the next piece could stick to it, right? You can't just start with the whole concept. You have to put a little bit, and then they all start to stick together like Velcro. So I feel like that's what the angels and Yeshua have been doing for us, is giving us, they started us gradually with little bit. In the beginning, it was all about allow, right? And then they move into all these different phases where they've been trying to express to us and to help us really digest and understand the energies that we're trying to hold and to help us move through it. So beautiful. All right, you guys, I hope I see you this Sunday in Peace Bathing and at our next Friday live next Friday. Thanks so much for joining me, you guys. Lots of love to you, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.